Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. Welcome to Growing Your Mindset podcast with Adam Diaz and Justin Hoke. And I am here joined again for day number 4 with my good friend, good brother in Christ, Isaac Smith. Good morning.
Man, grand rising to you, Adam. Man, look, I'm just trying to live supremely happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and $100 billion stronger. In Jesus' name, man. Once again, He allowed me to see another day, brother.
That's
So,
it. That's it. Yes, yes. And man, I've been enjoying this conversation that we've been having backstage and looking forward to jump into it. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Jason. Everybody that's joining us that are piling in now. We have a phenomenal episode ready for you today. And yes, we did coordinate. No, we didn't. But we're matching today. We're matching today.
yes,
But
sir. Yes, sir.
yes, and more than just our clothing, right? More than just our clothing. And so
Absolutely.
today we are going to be talking about uh, this idea of friendship. And so Monday we started off talking about what is a man, and I think this is from a great aspect for both us as men and also for our women counterparts to help us understand, ourselves and each other, right? And then we have the next transition was to our relationships, right? Our marriage relationships. And because this is I think the key for society, these home entities, these home units. And we talked about parenting and parenting, and both from aspect of our own parents and us as parents, and this child parent relationship. And so now we're getting into another very important topic, which is friendship. What is a friend, and talking about the importance of friendship. And I'm looking forward to this. But before we get into it, though, I almost forgot. If you guys are watching on the Grow Giver, hop over to the YouTube channel, and so we all can be hanging out together in one place. We're going to really try to make this push to get over to the Growing Your Mindset and have everyone all in one place there. So, but everyone else who's coming in, good morning, Julie. Good morning, everybody that's making it in today. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to this topic. Now, Isaac, man, what are your thoughts on like the importance of having good people around you? Because we're talking about this, and it's obvious, right? But why is it so important to have like good people around you? Why is it important to do that?
Well, first of all, hello to and the ingredients to all your audience, man. I'm glad to be on the podcast once again. I don't know how Adam put up with me, but hey, he brought me back. So, Adam, that's a great question. It is very important. And matter of fact, I believe that is a determining factor. It's like almost like life and death. With choosing the right people, because the people is going to determine the trajectory in which your life is gonna go. So it's very important to choose. I heard a great my father would say, choose your the people that you're around or your friends wisely,
Yeah.
because they're gonna determine how you think, how you behave, and how you react.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how we process information is based on who we're around. How we ingest information is based on who we're around. How we see things. So, the way that we think, the way that we behave, is all influenced by the people that are around us. And
Yep.
what I come to realize, Adam, is that because I don't smoke, it's hard for me to be around other people that smoke.
Yeah.
So in other words, the things that I do is going to dictate who's going to be around me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um, look at it like this: your friends are like a mirror of who you already
That's it.
are. And so you're going to select people that are doing the same thing that you are. So if you say, man, I hate smoking, man, and I look at your friends. Do they smoke? Do they drink? Do they do this? And then if they do, then it's going to be harder for you to leave that environment if you have those people around. So what I learned is that if I want to be more spiritual, if I want to be a great entrepreneur, then what I had to do was find people that had those qualities that I can insert myself around, and knowing that sometimes you may not have all those qualities yet, but if you have the mindset and the thinking that, hey, this is what I want to be, and you able to look and say, I know what good qualities look like, and say, okay, now I got to get rid of. So now what I had to do is I had to, take inventory and say, you know what, I got to get rid of some people.
Yeah,
Because one thing I realized is that if a place is already full, there's no room for nobody else to come into. So in other words, I had to get rid of some old friends in order for new friends to take the place and occupy it.
that's right. That's right. And this idea of having people around us that are going to help us, that are it's important, right? Because even when we go back to the scriptures, we see that evil companionship corrupts good morals. Like this idea that the friends you're with are going to affect you, that are going to dictate what you're going to think, how you're going to act. And so we talk about it a lot on this podcast, the idea of a campfire effect, like being around the right campfire, having a support system, having those people in your life that are going to uplift you, right? And are also going to call you out, right? When you're not doing what's right, they're going to hold you accountable. And I love this idea that you're a mirror. Your friends are a mirror of who you are. In a very large sense, this is true. We hear the quotes like, we are the sum of all the five people that we spend the most time with. And so when we're looking at this, like, and we're talking about what a friend is, or the value of a friend, like what exactly is a friend? Because I think we use this word very generally, and it has a lot of different meanings. So let's define our terms here. What are we talking about here as far as like what a friend is?
All right. I think a friend is someone that is displays these three things: is transparency, vulnerability, and accountability.
Hmm.
So in other words, uh a friend is someone that is willing to be transparent with you. That means that they don't mind showing you who they are.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable. They don't mind telling you the things that other people don't know. So they share intimate things with that person that other people are not aware of. And then they are accountability. That means that they're willing to trust that person with said information so that they can hold it.
Yeah.
So, for example, what I mean about accountability, let's say, Adam, I said, man, my goal is to get to making $1,000 a day, Adam, and that's one of my goals, and I entrusted that to you and say, Adam, can you hold this for me and hold me accountable? So now, Adam, what I'm doing is trusting you with an idea in a goal of mine, and I'm trusting you to hold that idea in good faith.
Yeah.
And your job is to say, okay, now that I have it, now I'm going to hold you accountable to this. Okay, what are you going to do? You're
Right.
going to do some research. You're going to do this. You're going to find ways to help me accomplish said goal.
Yeah.
And that's what a friend is for. It's like a partnership.
That's it. That's it. And so when we're looking at friends, we're not talking about, hey, this person you just met and you hit it off and now you're buddies, right? We're talking about people that we have um, multiple connections with, right? We're talking about people that we can trust. And the only way that we can actually really build trust is to spend time with people, to see how they behave in different situations. And I think this is a really great place for us to start as far as who should our friends be? Because a lot of times we rely on one factor, one connection, proximity, right? The people that we're around is usually becomes our friends, and or that are in the places that we're at here. And so it's really important for us to like understand that proximity is only one of the factors, right? Because a lot of times we may not have control about where we live, especially as younger. Like I remember as a child, and I was just around. I was just subject to whoever was in my classes, pretty much whoever I was spending time with. But as we grow up and as we're adults, we can start picking and choosing where we spend our time, what our focus and our attention is. And so I think one of the ways that we can really surround ourselves with good people, attract good people into our lives. One of the things is we have to really think about who we want in our lives, and we have to imagine the kind of people that we want around us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Adam, man, this is like, I think this is a subject that is not talked about enough. I was on a show last night um, um, that was asking which one would you prefer, love or loyalty in a
Hmm.
friend? and they said you had to pick one. And so I was like, hmm. I was like, a lot of people was like loyalty. I want loyalty. I want people to be loyal to me. But then I was thinking, I was like, no, I want a friend that displayed the quality of love. And they was like, why do you say that? And this is what I told them. I said, well, someone that loves you may not be loyal to you at times.
Hmm.
And they said, why? I said, all right, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You know, in the Bible, in Acts chapter 5, Ananias and Sapphira, right? He lied to the Holy Spirit and he died, but then they went to his wife. She told the same lie that he told. She was loyal to him, but she didn't love him enough to tell him, baby, you are wrong on
Mm,
this.
mm,
So loyalty will allow you to do what a person like, even if it harms them. So I
yeah,
don't want people to be loyal to me when I'm at a fault, but I want someone to love me. See, loving is a person will do what's best for you, even if you don't like it or even if you find it harmful, but it's in your best interest. So I want a friend that's going to love me versus being loyal to me, because they may be loyal to me when I'm wrong and
man,
they just going to embrace it.
I love this idea because a lot of times our friends are there. One of the main purposes that we have friends, and I mean it in the general sense of what a friend is, not in a selfish or taking advantage way, but to see our blind spots, right? We can't see behind us. We can't see a lot of things, and so our friends are able to come in and say, "Hey, did you look at it this way?" And I love this idea of loyalty versus love, because I think in our culture there is like this underlying, like, we need to be, loyal. We need to be loyal, and we associate that with we think it's love, right? We think it's love, but in a real sense it's not, because being loyal can, like, help, that can cause people to overlook faults that they wouldn't overlook if they truly love them. And and I heard a preacher say once that, what's the difference between being right and being wrong? And the answer, usually people say, well, it doesn't feel, how does it feel to be wrong, is the question. Actually, how does it feel to be wrong? Well, it doesn't feel very good. Well, actually, it feels the exact same as being right, because you don't know, you only feel bad when you find out that you're wrong. And so, but when you're wrong, you're thinking you're right, so it still feels the same way. And so, without that accountability, without that love that friends will offer you, a true friends, like, we don't even know what we don't know, and we can be harming ourselves and others, when all it could have taken was, a word, a conversation, an action, one stand, and so we have to remember that love is truly better than loyalty in this sense.
Absolutely. And Adam, man, my team want me to take the time out to tell you guys thank you for allowing the JOL network to
Yeah.
showcase the journey of life, and so they really appreciate you promoting, our channel and things like that. So greetings to you guys, and they want me to make sure I make give my thanks to you guys. So
Yes, yes, and it's really my pleasure. Justin had some. He was going on vacation. He said, he was trying to make it, but just the schedule wasn't going to be able to make it, and so uh, you coming on, stepping up, and helping me all week, with your time, it's just amazing. Thank you so much, and I think that hopefully this right here is displaying, what friends should be, because Isaac, you're one of my best friends. You really are.
mhm.
And even though we, over the years, you've moved away from our area here, and we only touch base a couple times a year, maybe sometimes, but knowing that you're always there, and I know that I can always come to you, it's because we've built this relationship of trust and of commitment and of consistency. And, like, even though you're doing your own things and I'm doing my own things, I can look back and say I'm proud of that man. Like, look where he's going, and I know he's going, I know where he's going, the direction. And so it's just really good to know that I have people in my life like you, that I can say, hey, I'm in a jam right now, can you come, not once but 5 times? And you said no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, that's what friends are for.
That's
Is
it.
that when you need a lifeline, my job is to be standing there with ready to go,
Yeah.
and that's I think that's what a lot of time people miss in the friendship, is that they don't grasp that you are in that person's life to serve and to actually be there for a reason. A lot of time people just take up space in people's life, and this is something I tell all the people that I call friend, or either brothers or sisters, or whatnot. I tell them this: if I'm in your life and I'm not adding any value to you, and I'm actually hindering you or taking up space, and you can't see where I benefit you in your life, then kick me out of your life immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take up space in people's life. I want to be able to add value. If I'm not adding value, then that's mean I'm taking away value, and I don't want to do that
Yeah.
in people's life, because I know if I'm in your life, you're giving me some type of value. And if I'm not giving it back to you, then that's a one-sided relationship,
Yeah.
and that's not fair to you. That's not fair to the friendship, for me to do that. And I tell them, man, you don't have to apologize to me for cutting ties, for realizing that I add no value to your life.
And this is such an amazing thing, because a lot of times we don't do it on purpose, but we'll think, what can people do for us? And so I don't want all these losers around me. I want people that are successful and that are happy, and these kind of things. But then, you know we don't take the steps, like what I mentioned earlier. We have to imagine those people we want in our lives. I want happy, successful people in my life. I want people who are strong fathers, who are trying to do the best, do right by their parents, by their wives and husbands, and by their kids. That's the kind of people that I want in my life. But if I'm not doing any of those things, and I just want that, like, it's not going to happen. It's because those people aren't going to allow me into their lives. And so the next part of imagining who you want in your lives, you have to now imagine who you have to be in those people's lives, because
Right.
now the pressure's on. If I want to be
Mm-hmm.
if I want to happy, successful people in my life, I got to be happy and successful. And so
Yep.
what do I need to do to make sure that I'm being a good friend? Because sometimes we try to there's so many people, and I'm sure we have them in our lives, that they get take and take and take, and they rarely give. And we don't like how that feels for ourselves, so we got to make sure that we're not doing that to others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm reminded about a verse in the Bible: no greater love than this, than for a man to lay down his life for his friend.
Yep.
And my parents would tell me, son, if you can't lay your time down, what make you think you'll lay your life down? So in other words, that what he's saying is that that's the ultimate goal of friendship, that you get to a point to where you're willing to lay things down on the basis for the friend, if it will advance them or help them in a good way. And so we know that, with Jesus laying his life down for us, benefit us and hurt him. And
Yeah.
so what he's saying is that sometimes friendship is actually to do what's best for that other person, may cause you hurt, harm, and it may ask you to sacrifice some things that you really hold close to you.
Yep.
But are you willing to give that up for the friendship? If not, then that's not really you don't consider them a friend.
Right.
So that's why I said I don't call everybody my friend, because I'm not willing to do that for everybody. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Yep.
I'm not gonna sacrifice my time for my family for someone that does not have a goal or a destination in mind that is gonna help themselves, their family, and ultimately the whole world.
Yeah.
There. So
And this is so important, because I think so many times, especially in my life, I can think back and how I was misguided, and how I would forsake my family for somebody that I should not have been spending my time with, trying to help. And I say, my wife would get mad, and she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just trying to help these people. They're in this tight spot." And it's like, this is not, what you need to be doing. And it took me a long time to understand that I wasn't in a position where I was being a good friend to my wife, and
mm,
I was trying to be a friend, but my values were not aligned with my actions. And I was
mm,
saying that I value you, wife Sarah. I value you, But then I was doing things where I was saying, well, I value these, they aren't even friends. They're just people that were asking for help. And
Hmm.
so it's important for us to make sure that we are um, not being selective. Like we're being selective with the people and with our time. With it's so important that we guard our time, that we guard our thoughts. And we talk about this a lot in this podcast. But the things that go into our minds, the things that we think that we hold on to, we need to make sure that we're guarding those things, just like the food that we're putting into our bodies. We're looking at
Right.
ingredients. It's like, no, this is poison. I'm not putting this in my body,
Right.
or the other way. And so we have to do the same with our friends, with our thoughts, because when we look at our friends and the people that are around us, like this is going to make all the difference. And I don't want to go too into the Bible, but at the same time, we see this in leadership, right? We see this. We were studying Judges yesterday in our Bible study class, and we see it when we have these judges, these leaders come up, the people start doing right. They start prospering, and when they're not, they're just kind of lost, and they're just go astray again. And this is a cycle. And I see that as when we have good friends around us, good people who are trying to do positive things, and we follow, and we have this group going in that same direction, so much of our lives can be prospered in so many ways, and we can benefit so many other people in ways that we couldn't even imagine. But if we go the other way and we follow after people that aren't doing right and that aren't being where we want to be, it's going to take us down the wrong road.
Oh, absolutely, Adam. This is one things I'm gonna give the audience some ways to test if they got good friends around them. One of the things I would do is when someone asks, start evaluate how much they ask of you and not give. So start to tell them no. And when you tell people no, watch how they respond. Either they can respond in a negative way or get mad or angry, or either they can say, okay, that's fine. I just still love the relationship. If that be the case, then that's a good friend. But if they get angry and mad just because you told them no, then that's probably the sign of a bad friend. So this is what I would do a lot of time with people that come around. They ask me for things. They ask for my time. They ask for money. They ask for a lot of stuff. And this one question I would ask them. I say, which one of my daughters do you want me to take time from, and how much time do you want me to take from my wife to do this
Mm,
for you? And a lot of times they'll stop. If they say, well, I need for you to take the whole day from her, then that's a selfish person. You may not want to have
that's
that
a
person
sign.
close
That's a
around,
flag.
because
Yeah.
you want me to sacrifice my family for what you have going on, and you're not even considering about me.
Yeah.
And even when they ask for money, I say, well, which one of my kids you want me to take food out of their mouth to give to you in order for you to have whatever you want to have? And I do that with a lot of homeless people. Anybody that come up and ask me for money, that's what I ask. I say, which one of my family, from my wife, my two daughters, do you want me to take food out of their mouth? Like, pick one. I got an oldest daughter, 17, youngest 13, and then I got a wife. Which one of those you want me to take food out of? Just pick one.
Yeah.
And what I realize is that a lot of time when you put that in perspective, people tend to tone down what they're asking, a lot of
That's
time.
it.
And
That's it.
so
Yeah.
you can teach people to respect your boundaries. And I think that for me, I felt like I was being a type of friend that is actually helping them to respect people's boundaries. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we don't help people with teaching them how to be friendly and be the right friend for
Mm.
someone.
Man, and this is such a good point because a lot of times it's not the fault of anybody, but we just may just not have the right people, the right influences in our lives, and we don't know how to navigate things. And so many times we look at our children, we look at toddlers and how they burst out, right? They scream and throw tantrums and these kind of things. It's not that they want to do that, they're trying to make our lives miserable. It's that they don't know how to communicate properly. And it goes the same with friends. Like a lot of times, even good friends, like we need to make sure that we're setting right expectations with our boundaries and what we desire, because a good friend will respect that, or a good friend will challenge it in a good way, right? And so So if you have somebody that's coming to you, that's always trying to take and always trying to do this, and you present this to them, this is a very good way to help them assess, okay, is this really important? Because a lot of times, your emergency to, your problem, failure to plan is not an emergency on my part, right? And
Absolutely.
that's what usually what it is, right? Because people see um, leaders, right? People that are doing well, that help people, that are doing these things, and they say, well, I can attach myself to them and they can bring me across the finish line. And these aren't the people that we want in our lives, unless we can say, you can run beside me and we'll cross together, right?
Hmm.
But you can't drag
Hmm.
me down. And so
Hmm.
then we're changing the dynamic. And so they're either going to
Absolutely.
say yes or no. And then we have our answer. And so many times it just takes that upfront contract. It just takes those setting those right expectations in our friendships. And sometimes it's hard to do because we don't want to upset somebody. We don't want to do that. But in the long run, this is what love is. This is what the love you're talking about.
Absolutely. And Adam, talk to a little bit about the web analogy that you gave, man. I definitely want that.
Yeah.
That I love that analogy.
Yeah. So, when we're talking about friendship, we're talking about relationships. And relationships only work when we have connections, right? The
Mm.
only reason why you guys are viewing right now is because you feel some kind of connection with us. You feel like we're offering some value, or that we've been through things that you have, or whatever it is. Like, you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't have some kind of connection. But, for you that I haven't met personally, and we don't have any other connection than this, if this stops, our friendship, our relationship kind of is ended, right? And it's just like the idea of fishing with a fishing line. And so, Isaac, if you and I just have one connection, that we just go to church together, and that's it, we don't have any other friendships, like we don't have kids to, we don't share any other connections. If something happens in that aspect of the relationship, it can be severed, and that breaks it, right? It's fishing with a fishing line. If something cuts that line, the bait, the everything's gone. That connection is gone. However, when you fish with a net, when you fish
Mm.
with a fishing net, now we have this different device. We have this thing that has lots of connections bound up. It's all intertwined, right? And actually, a fishing net can lose up to 60%. It can break up to 60%. So it only is working at 40% capacity, and yet still hold 80% of its volume.
Wow.
And and the reason is because there's so many connections. And this is what builds strong friendships. This is what builds strong marriages. This is what builds strong relationships in general. When we build upon those connections and we layer them on top of each other, this is why my wife and I are never going to split up, because we've determined that we have, no matter what problems we're going through, that our net, that our web is going to hold strong. And that by the time we pull it out and it's damaged, we have so much of it left that we can still repair those things and mend them. Whereas if you only have that one connection that severs, that's it. That's it. And so, as a friend, we need to make sure that we are doing our best to have multiple connections with these people that are in our lives. Because if we have a lot of people in our lives where we only have one connection or one thing, and those are the people that are valuable and important to us, we need to make more connections. Or if they're not that valuable, why are they taking up that time? Why are they taking up that bandwidth?
Man, what are some of the connection with that web analogy? Would you say would make a good connection in friendship? Just give a few of those connection that we need to make with each other.
I think there's physical ones and there's mental ones, and I think there's a lot of things, and it's all going to depend on the nature of the relationship. But looking for those things that we have in common, those commonalities. Isaac, we're not just two guys that go to church together, right? We're
Hmm.
husbands and fathers, and we're like on the same
Hmm.
path. And when we share those things, and I share my struggles with you, like, and then you say, oh man, I was going through that same thing, boom, there's a connection, right?
Hmm.
And when I call you up and I say, hey Isaac, I'm in a bind now, and I have 5 days of podcasts I need to do, and you say, I'm there, boom, there's another connection, right? These are these
Hmm.
emotional deposits in our emotional
Hmm.
bank account that we can draw on later if needed.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
all of these kind of things are so important for us to see and find those commonalities, right? So that we can connect with people. And so I know, that you are an entrepreneur. And so, hey, let me find out about more what Isaac's doing. and I'm interested in what you're doing. You're telling me about this. I'm learning things, but now you're feeling more connected to me because I'm interested. And hey, he knows about this stuff too, and he wants to learn about this stuff too. And so if we have a problem, with our friendship, whatever it is, with our kids, there's something going on and we got some big issue, because we have all these other connections, we can work through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, that's amazing. And that's, man, I love the fact that you talked about with your relationship about mending the net.
Yeah.
So a lot, and even with the analogy that you just gave with making deposit, a lot of times that in friendship we don't make enough deposit, but we want to withdraw a lot and wonder why there's no why it says insignificant funds,
Yeah.
you know. And you like, man, why I can't pull nothing out? Because you haven't deposited and you haven't mended the net that may have become broken. And so what happened is you just throw the whole friendship or the relationship away because of, you can no longer pull from it anymore. And that's something that, sadly, that's a lot of friendship in the world,
That's it.
there. And talking about that net is that transparency and vulnerability is what helps crochet it and mend that net
That's it.
together. Because what I heard you say, Adam, is that when you're vulnerable with me about what's going on with your husband and wife relationship, that's vulnerability and that's transparency, then now you give me the opportunity to hold you accountable, and so you're willing to be having accountability there by sharing that with me, and then what happens is that now I'm saying, man, Adam was vulnerable with me, so you know what that does, it encouraged me to be vulnerable with you. Now I say, hey Adam, man, I got my daughters, these are the things that have been going, and these are things that may seem embarrassing, but now I'm able to be vulnerable and transparent with you. And now as we do that, that net begin to woven together now. And the more we do that, the bigger and bigger the net get. And what's going to happen is as we cast it, we're going to be able to get great things in our friendship, and so like a lot of good things, like just using Adam and myself as an example, this, look what we're on a podcast together. That's the residual of the net that we mended together, is that we're able to do things like this together, and that's just one of many things that we're able to do, together, because of the net that we have.
That's it, man. That's it, man. This has been such a great discussion here, and I want to leave us with a passage from Ecclesiastes, because we're talking about nets, we're talking about mending things, and I think this is very applicable. And this is from Ecclesiastes 4, starting in verse 9. It says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken."
Mm, I
Yes,
love it.
yes,
I love
yes.
it, man.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're getting value out of this, please like, subscribe, and also hop on over to Isaac's YouTube channel as well. I'm going to the share the link here in a second, but Isaac, thank you so much for coming on and joining me again. And this has been such a phenomenal time talking about these super important topics, and it's all about mindset. We're talking about these really important things in our lives, some of the most valuable things in my life, but it is about our attitudes and our perspectives on life, and so hopefully this is helping you guys. I know it's helping me. I know it's helping me tremendously, and so thank you again, Isaac. Let's jump into these affirmations, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I am committed to my growth.
I am committed to my growth.
I am loved, appreciated, blessed, and highly favored.
I am loved, appreciated, blessed, and highly favored.
Challenges are opportunities for me to improve.
Challenges are opportunities for me to improve.
Every day I'm getting better and better.
Every day I am getting better and better.
I am my best investment.
I am my best investment.
Life happens for me. Everything is for my growth and benefit.
Life happens for me. Everything is for my growth and benefit.
I am an action taker.
I am an action taker.
I am committed to being the most positive person that I know.
I am committed to being the most positive person that I know.
I am a fixer. I'm somebody's answer. When you get me, you get everything that I'm connected to.
I am a fixer. I am somebody's answer. When you get me, you get everything I am connected to.
All right, you do this first one. I'm gonna follow you on this one.
All
Go
right.
ahead. I'm healthy. Go ahead. Tell me that one.
I am supremely healthy, wealthy, wise, and $100 billion stronger in Jesus' name.
I am supremely healthy, wealthy, and wise, and $1 billion stronger in Jesus' name.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. All right, you guys. Thank you so much again. Don't forget to jump over to Isaac's channel. And please, 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 I know this is getting it's difficult for everyone to do because some people are jumping over to the other channel and kind of being lonely over there. So we'll have to pick a day where we all go together. So we'll talk about that later. But thank you guys so much. Tomorrow we're going to be getting into the topic of how to work-life balance, I guess, or work-life integration. How can we be entrepreneurs and still manage and balance our families and win at all of it, right? And so looking forward to that tomorrow. Join us same time, 7:30 Central Standard Time, and we will see you then.
All right.
Yes. All right, you guys. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the flip side.